Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. And today I'm excited to share with you guys another sweet watch by a company called Boldr Supply Company. And if you haven't checked them out, I encourage you to click the link, as I always recommend, in the description and see what they have to offer. Now, I've reviewed one of their watches in the past. I think they give you a lot of really great quality for the money. And if you're not into some of the larger INVICTA Aragon style timepieces, I encourage you to check them out. So I reviewed one of their brass watches in the past on a NATO strap. It's a pretty cool watch. I wear it when I want something a little more subtle, downplayed a little bit. And they were next to somebody, one of their brand new pre-order models. This one's called the Expedition. And this watch is a mountain themed watch. And I'm going to show you the watch in a second here. Let me just show you now so I can keep your attention. This is what it looks like. And this is the back of the watch, of course. And let me just put this down for a second here. And I want to tell you the specifics on the watch, show you what it looks like on the wrist, and give you guys my opinion of the watch, okay? So this watch looks like that they made, it's like a remake. They had a Expedition line previously, which was a completely different watch. And it looks like on their website, they have 3 different models. One is sold out, and there's still 2 available, which is more of a round model. This style has more of an elongated case, which I like better than the original model. I think the original model just looked more like a basic watch. This has got something a little different, a little more character, much better lines, I would say. So it's available in 4 different variations. These are on pre-order, and each one is named after a mountain. So you have the Matterhorn, the Sinai, the Everest, which is the one I'm going to show you today, the Rushmore, and the Eiger. I think I'm saying that right, E-I-G-E-R. And each one of those is a mountain, and basically each one of these names dictates which color you're going to get. So for instance, your Matterhorn's a black on black. The Sinai is all black with like a yellow or orange indices and hands. And of course the Everest, which is the blue version. Then you have the Rushmore, which has got the green and black. And then the black strap white face Eiger, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm sure I'm butchering it. So let's talk about the Everest today. So I'm just going to give you guys the specifics on the watch. The watch is made of 316L stainless steel. You do have a 41 millimeter diameter on the bezel, of course, which this bezel is really interesting. It's a fixed bezel on the watch itself, but it's a bezel that's actually inside the watch. And I'm going to demonstrate that in a second. They call it an inner rotating bezel. And I always like watches like this because it really protects the bezel. You have a much more solid piece where that bezel, I mean, could potentially, I remember I ordered a watch in the past. It wasn't an INVICTA. It was sent to me actually by a different company review, and I got it and the bezel was completely off the watch. So pretty cool. Definitely going to be very durable. It is a double domed sapphire crystal on this here, so it's going to be very scratch resistant. You have 2 screw down crowns, which I'll demonstrate in a second. I would almost consider this a screw down function pusher because one is a crown to set the time. The other one is a screw down pusher or function button, or function crown we'll call it, to change the rotation of the bezel, okay? 20 millimeters in lug size, okay? 46 millimeters lug to lug, and 14 millimeters in case thickness. Now it is 316L stainless steel. It does look like titanium, but it's not. It's just finished to look like titanium. It's got kind of this matte, kind of sandblasted finish, where if you were to look at this and not actually feel the weight, first glance you would definitely think it was titanium. You have an EPDM rubber strap. They say it's natural rubber strap, custom molded. And what else? It looks like it's kind of custom molded to what you'd see maybe on the bottom of a hiking boot or a shoe. More like a hiking boot, I would say. That's just my opinion on what I think the theme is going for on that. Again, your standard Boldr buckle on the back. And this one here, what else? It has a decorative screw down case back, which is, I'm not really sure what that symbol symbolizes, but it has almost like a hiking boot imprint, or like a shoe print or a footprint on the back. And I'm not sure if each watch is different. They don't have pictures on the site showing each watch back, only the watch's face, and of course the band and whatnot. So I assume they're probably all the same on the back. A little more about the watch. You have Superluminova, Swiss Superluminova, BGW9 plus C3 on the face, or on the dial, and on the hands. And you have 20 ATMs or 660 feet of water resistance. This is powered for you watch movement, fanatics out there. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's a fantastic movement. This was powered by Sellita SW 200-1. It is self-winding and hacking with a 38 hour power reserve. So for those of you who definitely want a Swiss movement, some of you do in a watch, this is going to give that to you, which is interesting that a lot of times when a watch has a Swiss movement, the companies are pretty proud of that, so they'll put Swiss made on it. This company doesn't do that, but that basically symbolizes a Swiss made, sorry I closed the window there, a Swiss made watch. Again, Swiss made doesn't mean the watch is made in Switzerland, but this does have a authentic Swiss made movement. And Sellita, if you haven't heard about the Sellita movement, it's kind of, I believe it's comparable to some of the ETAs or the ETA movements. I forget exactly the reference number to that, but it's renowned as being a very well made, excellent movement. And the Sellita movement, the SW200, is actually used in lots of high-end luxury watches. Just Google it, you'll see all kinds of brands. I think they've used them in Breitling and several other brands. Again, don't quote me on that. Do your research, find out if it's important to you. This is the first watch I've had in my possession with a Sellita movement. I have several with the ETA movements, and I think my Ocean Eva is actually got the Swiss-made Sellita movement as well. So great movement. Heard nothing but great things about it. You guys know I'm not a watch expert. I'm not a watchmaker. I just enjoy collecting, enjoy sharing this stuff with you guys. So that's really about it for the watch. I want to demonstrate the inner rotating bezel. So what you do is basically obviously you just unscrew the ring right here, the top one, which has got kind of the regular crown doesn't have any kind of color to the inside of that edge right there. You kind of see one's orange, one's not. What you do is just basically unscrew that, and this allows you to rotate the bezel inside the watch itself and set it to where you want it. So I'm just going to put it back in the 12 o'clock position. Then you just press in and screw that, we'll call it crown, back down. Only thing I found a little bit difficult with it is that if you set it exactly where you want it, for me, not a big deal because I never really mess with the bezel too much. If you want to set it exactly where you want it, you have to kind of be careful when you push in. You want to be direct and stern when you push in, then twist. Because otherwise, if you start to twist before you push in, you'll change the location of your marker here on the bezel. Standard crown on the other side, screw down of course. Set the time like any other watch, as you can see. Set it to what you want. Again, hackable and automatic. I wish I had a lume shot for you here. I haven't tested this yet, but they say the super lume was pretty good. I'll drop a comment in the description or drop a comment letting you guys know what I think. But a pretty cool looking watch. I definitely like watches that have a little bit of character to them. You see so many watches that just kind of resemble a Rolex watch or that basic style. I like the fact that it's not simply a round watch with a rotating bezel. You have your two crowns on this watch, both screw down. I think it's a really great looking piece, and I think they're going to do really well with this. Price point in this watch is going to run you about $499. That is, I believe, for any color. Let me just double check that. Yep, $499 for either of the four models. Again, it is on pre-order. I'm not sure when they plan on releasing this or shipping this watch. The lume pictures look pretty good. It looks like there's two color lume. One color looks like more of a green for the indices and the hands, and then as far as your numbers and your bezel markers, your bezel numbers, those look like they're more of an aqua blue. So this should look pretty cool at night. Right now we're in the middle of the day here, and I can't really tell the difference, but definitely on the site you can check that out. As far as the color combinations, just on a personal, I guess, pick here, I really like the blue the most, and I always tend to kind of steer more towards stainless, silver, or black. I wish they made it on a bracelet. I think that every watch company, if they're making a watch on a strap, they should do one on a bracelet. Maybe they'll do that down the road, who knows, but I do think it's a pretty cool watch, and I'm really happy with the way it looks. And again, I have so many homage watches to a Submariner and that style of watch, and they just kind of, I like them, I still wear them, but I like things to have a little bit of a different feel, a different look to them, and this one definitely accomplishes that very well. As far as presentation, basic cardboard box, not too much to write home about, very basic. It says Boldr, cardboard, not too much to write home about. But then, of course, your box that it comes in is pretty cool looking, very industrial, not industrial, but very, I don't know, very tough looking. It says naturally Boldr on the side here in that bright orange, a Boldr Supply Company on top, and it appears to have almost like a diamond plated rubberized bottom and top. They even put open here, which I figure would be common sense, but obviously somebody probably tried to rip the bottom open at some point and bitched about it. So they put open. You pop it off. It's got foam on the inside. And this one here is missing the pillow, so I'm not sure what happened there. I believe this watch has gone out to a couple reviewers. So that's about it. I think it's pretty cool. I think at the price point, it's in line to what you're going to expect to pay for any watch that has a Sellita movement in it, or the ETA movements. They tend to be a little more expensive than if you were to get something with a Seiko NH35, which is a great workhorse movement. It's really kind of my go-to, because for me, I never really cared too much about accuracy. I'm not really rough on watches, so it's cool just to know the names of the different movements, but for me, they all just tell time. If I have to pick having a watch that costs, you know, that's more, if I have to pick between two movements and one, and some companies do that, they'll make one with an ETA or a Valjoux or a Sellita, which is, those kind of like the big boys when you start to get watches that are made with movements that they outsource when it comes to automatic movements. If a watch company doesn't make their own movement in-house, a lot of times those are the companies that are going to be outsourced to. Ronda for your quartz, and Ronda's actually doing automatics now, which I haven't had any experience with those, but basically your Seiko, NH35, NH36, your Sellita, your ETA, and that's really a lot, the main movements you're going to find in watches or watch companies that outsource their movement or buy the movement and basically produce the watch. Nothing wrong with that, because I think personally, people make a big deal about in-house movements, but you know, at the end of the day, these things all just tell time. Some are a little more accurate than others, but for me, I have so many watches, and I know a lot of you guys have more watches than I have. You know, I don't wear the same watch for, you know, a month. I wear it one day and then I pick another one next day. So I'm always having to reset my watches unless they're quartz, and even the quartz ones, because it's a Ronda, I pull the crown to say get that 70% battery conservation. So not a big deal to me. So whether it's a Seiko or a Sellita, whatever, some people do care. I personally don't, but I think it's a pretty cool watch again. And I think it's definitely in line for the price point. So again, always links are in the description. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like on the wrist. Now I'm about 5'7", and I think, maybe I'm shrinking, 5'7.5". I weigh about 179 pounds, and I have a 7-inch wrist. So this watch here, on a 7-inch wrist, you're going to have a little bit of room to play with. If you have, I'd say a 6-inch wrist, this will probably fit you. You have three different eyelets left if you want to get this on a smaller wrist. And if you're a bigger guy, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more left. So this one looks like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. Definitely, like I said, a hiker's themed watch, a climber's themed watch. Boldr tends to, that's kind of like what their company is about. Very, very outdoorsy, very, you know, whereas a lot of companies, like for instance INVICTA, they make a whole bunch of watches, but they kind of, when you think INVICTA, you think, oh, you dive watches. You know, there's lots of companies out there who are specialize in that dive watch theme. Just like Oceaniva, it's an ocean themed name. Boldr tends to kind of be more of a watch designed for, I don't know, not really designed for, but more themed towards, you know, the outdoors, the hiker, the camper, the guy who's rugged, outside doing things. That's just my opinion on what I think when I think of Boldr Supply Company. So good looking watch. There it is on a 7-inch wrist. You can see that even at 41 millimeters, it doesn't look small, but you know how we INVICTA lovers or us large dive watch lovers, we get desensitized, but still a great looking watch. Like I said, I do wish they made it on a bracelet, because that's my go-to on any watch, but still a great looking piece. Kind of a side shot there of the height. All right, guys. Well, that's it. That is the Expedition Everest by Boldr Supply Company. Again, I encourage you to check out their website. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions or comments, never hesitate to ask. I'm always here to help you out. Boldr, thanks again for sending this over for review. Definitely appreciate that. And stay tuned for more, guys. Take care.